It's time for the weekly reel, where I share my real budget numbers, my real triumphs, and my real mistakes. Ready? Then let's go. Hi, my name is Drew, and you're watching Ready Budget Go. If we haven't met before, welcome. I'm so glad you found your way here. And if this is a return visit for you, welcome back. It's so good to see you again. This is the weekly reel where I share my real budget numbers and my real results, for better or for worse. So let's jump into it right now and do the cash dump, which I always start with. And I don't use a whole lot of cash, for those of you who are new. I give myself a $50 cash budget each week, and whatever I don't spend, I put into a special events fund for things like birthdays, holidays, celebrations, anything like that. So I'm going to start with the change. I have a little bit of coins this week. 13 cents, 12 cents. Okay. So that is going to go into this pouch. And I am just saving these for no particular purpose. I'm not counting them. By the time that this thing gets full, I will take it to a Coinstar machine and redeem it for a gift card or something. So that is the coins. Then we have the cash pouches. This is where I keep the cash for the month, but this is the current week, or now it's going to be the past week. And so out of the $50 that I gave myself at the start of the week, I still have 25, 35, 36, 37, $38 left. So I spent $12. So I'm going to go in here, and this is all of the cash that is going to go into the special events fund at the end of the month. And so next week, when I film my month-end closeout, I will dump that money in there. So that's going in here, and frankly, it's probably going to go right back out again, or what will likely happen is that I will recycle it into November instead of taking cash out of the bank for my November weekly spend, because I need to pay a credit card bill. It's the Amazon card for some holiday spending that I did during their sale event in October. So that is that. Oh, I need to put in next week's money. So this is the last of the October money. It should be $50. 10, 20, 30, 40, 5, and 50. Yep. So I have brand new 5s and some really funky old 10s, but that's okay. So that will be this week's spending money. I am going to spend probably a fair bit of this because I need to go to my office twice, and those will both be commute days, which means that I will be getting lunch out. So now this pouch is empty. I will refill it for next week so that I can start the November weeks. Today, as I'm recording this, it is the 31st. It's Halloween. And so despite it being the last day of the month, this next week is an October budget week for me, because my weeks run from Friday through Thursday. And I really hate it when the last day of the month is on a Friday, because that means I have to carry over basically an entire week's of spending into the previous month. I can't close October yet, but that's just the way it falls. I mean, those weeks have to go somewhere. So, all right, that is enough blathering about the cash, so let me put all of this away, or at least to the side, and I will get out my budget binder. If my voice sounds a little different this week, I am using my headset because my wireless headphones have decided that they no longer are interested in working. So I have a replacement set on the way, but for now I am wired up. So I'm kind of trying to keep it out of the way, but in doing so it limits my freedom of motion. So let's get into the budget, and I will show you what happened this week. So this is the last week of October starting, but I'm catching up for week 4. So most of my monthly budget is already done. I just have one more week to go in the spending. So for income, I did get my final paycheck, and that's why this video is coming out late, because I always get paid on the last day of the month, and I knew I was going to get a paycheck today, so I waited to film this and upload it. So I got my paycheck, I got my cell phone reimbursement, so that is all good. And then the only bills that came out were Visible, which is my cell phone plan. That was $35. and prescriptions $46. Now, the prescriptions were not actually $46. They were actually closer to what I had budgeted, but I redeemed some credit card rewards, so I took that off the top there. And then for wallet spending, $270.84, so a little bit over, and I will explain how that breaks down here in a little bit. Savings or stockpiles, $507. 307 of that went into the big move. And for those of you who are new, that is a goal of mine where I plan on moving to another state, hopefully sometime in 2026. I don't know exactly when, and I don't know exactly which state, but I'm saving up for the move. I have a little over $6,000 saved out of a $15,000 goal, so I'm about 40% of the way there. Okay, and then no savings or extra debt. And I distinguish savings from stockpiles as savings. I'm not putting that toward a specific purpose. I am just accumulating money for an emergency or for a rainy day or what have you, as opposed to stockpiles that are going toward a specific goal. Okay, so that's it for this page. So let's now move over and talk about the cash flow tracker. And this is essentially a check register. It's everything that went into and came out of my checking account. I do need to do the closeout, but I haven't done it yet. I did, however, record all the transactions. So here is the cell phone reimbursement. Here's the paycheck. And then I had 3 credit card payments and 1 withdrawal or transfer to my high yield savings account. And that was the $507 from this week's savings videos. So my savings videos come out on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Monday is Ready Budget Game or Game Night. Tuesday is Savings Challenges in the Batman binder. And Wednesday is My Money Relaunch, where I do paint by sticker book and save money that way while I talk about how I restarted my financial life after becoming debt-free. Okay, so that's it for this page. Let's move on now to the expense tracker. And this is everything that I put on a credit card this week. Excuse me. So I don't like to use cash. I think I have trained myself well enough to be responsible with credit cards that I don't have to worry about impulse spending and going nuts. I mean, I'm susceptible to it as anyone, but it is by far the exception rather than the rule. And I like the safety and security of using credit cards versus cash for most transactions. So on the 24th, DoorDash, $26. 27th, McDonald's, about $10. 27th, Costco. This is my weekly grocery shop, about $180. And part of the reason that is high is because I treat myself to imported sparkling Italian water. I don't drink alcohol, but I buy a case of that water every week from Costco, and that is expensive. So that is why, and it goes into the food budget. Excuse me. Also, when you buy food at Costco, as you know, or any warehouse club, you get a lot of it. So I'm not buying many things, but I'm getting a lot of it and kind of building up a stockpile. So some weeks at Costco are much higher than others. This happened to be a high week. Last week was a low week. We'll see what next week brings. Another trip to McDonald's, about $6, and then the weekly cash of $50. Now, I always record $50 as what I spent, even though I only spent $12, because to me that is a sunk cost. Once the money leaves my checking account, meaning I pull it out at the start of the month and allocate $50 a week, it's gone. So it's also a motivator for me not to spend the money, because then that's money that I have available to spend on other people, which is my preference. Okay, so that is it for the expenses. So again, all of this totaled the $270 some odd dollars that I recorded back in the budget, slightly over the $250 target, but I knew I was under budget in bills, so I'm not too worried about the $20, and this week may come in under budget. We'll see. Okay, so I've already kind of started to fill out the month-end review, but I'm going to save this until I get that last week of wallet spending in there to go over my summary of the month, because who knows what's going to arise in the next week. All right, so that is it for spending. Now let's talk about savings, and this is exciting for several reasons. So, oops, I went too far. This is my monetization tracker, and for those who don't know, once you reach 1,000 subscribers on YouTube with a certain number of watch hours, you are eligible for monetization, meaning that you are sharing in the revenue from the ads that YouTube shows on your videos. I don't really much care about the check. I mean, it'll be nice and what have you, but it's just the goal of reaching 1,000 subscribers and touching that many lives. So right now I am at 649 as of when I'm recording the video, so almost to being able to fill in the next bubble. But since the last time I filled in this tracker, I was able to color in 2 more because each bubble represents 10 subscribers. It also represents $50 that I need to save because I save $5 per subscriber. So I did send $100 into that fund this week, which brought it up to $3,200. This is going toward the big move. Part of my subscriptions, or the money that I save from everyone who subscribes to my YouTube channel goes toward that goal. So if I don't make it to 1,000 by the time that I'm ready to move, that's okay. I'm not too worried about it. I will come up with that money from elsewhere because I have other challenges going for it. For example, the books. So books means game night and my Tuesday videos. I just put in books as opposed to savings challenges because it's also the saving games, and anyway. So I just call it the books fund, or well, big move books fund. And that one has 3,868 in it. So you know what? I'm actually over 7,000 between the two. 3,200 plus 3,800 and change. So over 7,000. So I'm approaching halfway to my goal, which is super exciting. So when the new year rolls over, I will need to start putting money toward retirement again, meaning my Roth IRA. And that will impact how I'm saving. And then I also have the travel fund. So I've got an idea of how I want to rejigger things in the new year, but we'll see how that goes. That is something that I usually start planning on in late November, early December, and I'll share all the details once I have it all figured out. Speaking of the Roth IRA, I still do not have the 2026 Sloth IRA challenge done. There have been some people on YouTube and in the media who have told us what the 2026 contribution limits are going to be for Roth IRAs, well, for IRAs in general. But I'm waiting for the official word from the government. And due to the government being closed currently, I don't know when that will come out. So until I have the official word, I'm not going to be releasing a new version of this. However, the 2025 version is still available if you need it. Don't forget that you can contribute to your 2025 Roth IRA up until the tax filing deadline for 2026, which I think is April 15th. That used to just be the rule, but it's bounced around somewhat lately. So on or around April 15th, you can still contribute to your 2025 IRA. So if you need one of these, it's available on my Etsy shop. Link is down in the description. But that is all I have to share with you today for the weekly reel. So thank you so much for watching and for being patient with me, for not being timely like I usually am. But when the last day of the month is on a Friday, I just thought, well, I better wait until I get that paycheck so that I can record it. So if you enjoyed the video, please leave me a thumbs up. Drop me a comment down below so I know you were here. And until I see you in the next one, take care.